Simultaneous wildfires across Korea's southeastern region scorched a total area equivalent to 4,600 football fields over the weekend, resulting in at least 4 deaths and the evacuation of 1,500 people.
주말 사이 국내 남동부 지역의 지역 곳곳에서 동시다발적으로 발생한 산불로 축구장 4,600개에 달하는 면적이 불에 타면서 지금까지 최소 4명이 사망하고 1,500명이 대피하는 사태가 발생했습니다.
Yeah, this is quite a tragic event that's currently, as we speak, unfolding as well. It's a developing situation, but it began on Friday, right? So in Sancheong County, when news came out that a wildfire was spreading in that county, firefighters have been struggling to contain that fire, but it's also been spreading to other areas. Dozens of helicopters have been mobilized to help with the efforts. And in fact, over in Uiseong, in North Gyeongsang province, I think as we speak right now, for the third day, firefighters are fighting that blaze as well. As soon as the sun rises, helicopters can help in the efforts there. But it's truly tragic. A lot of land has been damaged, but also a lot of people have been displaced.
그렇습니다. 자, 지난 주말 발생했던 산불, 경남, 경북 그리고 울산 지역을 중심으로 산불들이 동시다발적으로 발생하면서 진화율이 아직 그렇게 높지 않습니다. 그래서 지금 의성 산불 3일째 확산되고 있는 모습이고요. 오늘 해가 뜸과 동시에 진화 헬기 투입이 재개된다고 이렇게 발표가 된 상황입니다. So tell us more. What do we know?
Yeah, so in terms of the amount of land that has been affected, 3,286 hectares of land. So if you're not familiar with hectares as a unit, that's approximately 4,600 football fields. So that gives us a bit of a better perspective on that. 1,500 residents have been evacuated and they're currently being housed at temporary shelters as authorities continue to contain these fires. But really the conditions, I remember earlier this year in California in the United States, where massive wildfires affected Southern California. There, it's quite a similar situation in that it's very dry conditions right now, and winds are very, very strong right now, and they're blowing. So it's quite, no pun intended, the perfect storm to have these wildfires spread very quickly.
그렇습니다. 지금 이렇게 동시다발적으로 산불이 많이 발생했다라는 표현을 영어로는 simultaneous wildfires라고 표현을 했는데요. 이 단어부터 좀 볼까요?
Yeah, of course, simultaneous means something happening at the same time, right? Concurrently. I don't know if simultaneous wildfire is an actual term or not. It just means wildfires
that's right.
are occurring simultaneously. So I know in Korean, 동시다발적, 산불, but in English, it's not really a set term, but it does describe the fact that many wildfires are happening at the same time.
그렇습니다. 뭐 이렇게 딱 굳어진 표현은 아니지만 동시다발적으로 일어난 산불이다. 이거를 영어로는 wildfires that have occurred simultaneously 이렇게 표현을 할 수도 있겠고 아니면 그러한 산불 simultaneous wildfires 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠습니다. 진화율을 보니까요. 산청 산불 진화율은 지금 한 70%, 의성 산불은 60% 정도의 진화율이 지금 기록이 되고 있다고 합니다. 어제 낮 기준으로는 30%라고 해가지고 그래서 아직도 지금 불을 꺼야 될 게 굉장히 많구나 생각이 들었었는데요. 어제도 하루 종일 해가 질 때까지 이게 우리 소방대원들과 많은 분들이 고생을 하셔서 진화를 하고 있는 모습이었고 오늘도 지금 이제 해가 지금 떴기 때문에 바로 다시 헬기가 투입이 되면서 진화 작업이 진행이 될 예정입니다.
Yeah, it's good to see that they're making progress here, 30% to 70%. But, firefighters are probably one of the bravest people that I can think of, usually.
Some of them actually sadly passed away over the weekend.
Right, quite unfortunate there because normally when these disasters happen, people are running away from the fire, but firefighters have to run to the fire, which is, they're a different breed, I'll say that.
그렇습니다. 진화대원 2명이 안타깝게 목숨을 잃었고요. 공무원 도 2명이 지금 실종이 된 상황이다. 여러 가지 지금 업데이트가 들어오고 있고 이게 다 마무리가 되지 않은 뉴스는 영어로는 It's a developing story 이렇게 표현을 하죠. 지금도 진행 중인 그런 이야기다, 스토리다. scorching 한번 보겠습니다.
Yeah, we use this term when we talk about the weather as a figure of speech, saying that the weather is scorching, meaning it's
Yeah.
very, very hot. But in this instance, we're taking it in a literal sense, saying that scorching means something that's burning, right? Something that's burned. It's charred, seared, completely burned. So if you scorch your steak, that means it's completely black, right?
You don't want that, I don't think.
Yeah,
Some
it's
people
probably
like
not
that.
healthy
Most,
for you.
Yeah, most people don't like that. Scorching, S-C-O-R-C-H. 완전히 그을 정도로 이게 태운다 이런 의미인데요. 이제 뭐 고기를 그렇게 구울 수도 있겠지만 여기서는 산불 얘기가 되겠습니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Simultaneous wildfires across Korea's southeastern region scorched a total area equivalent to 4,600 football fields over the weekend, resulting in at least 4 deaths and the evacuation of 1,500 people. Now let's move on. This is our next headline.
All 5 games on opening day of the 2025 Korea Baseball Organization season sold out on the weekend, drawing nearly 110,000 fans nationwide, marking the 3rd consecutive season opener to sell out.
지난 주말에 열린 KBO 프로야구의 올 시즌 개막 경기 5개가 전국에서 약 11만 명의 야구 팬들을 끌어들이며 모두 매진됐습니다. 이로써 개막전 전구장 매진 기록이 3년째 이어졌습니다.
Yeah, another sign that spring is here
Yeah.
is when you hear the crack of the bat. Baseball season is now officially underway. We call that opening day in baseball. But I think the popularity of baseball is at an all-time high right now in Korea. 3rd straight year of opening day sellouts. To be exact, 109,000 people went to the stadiums on Saturday alone, on the very first day. That's the most since 2019 when 114,000 went to the stadiums, and it's the 3rd highest ever. So there were games down in Gwangju, they were in Daegu, here in Seoul, LG Twins, of course, their home stadium there, and SSG Landers, they're the Incheon team, and the smallest stadium was in Suwon with the KT Wiz.
Right. And how we express this is that the games
Yep.
sold out.
Yes, meaning that if something sells out in this instance, all the tickets that are available
Yeah.
are gone.
그 tickets sold out 이렇게 표현해도 되겠지만 the games sold out라고 해서 그 경기를 위한 티켓이 팔렸다는 얘기를 이렇게 영어식으로는 뭐 티켓이라는 단어를 쓰지 않아도
Yeah.
묘사가 되는 거죠.
You can say it for a concert, for example, as well. The musical is sold out.
아, 그러네요.
No more
musical,
tickets.
The musical sold out, the concert sold out 이러면은 다 팔렸다, 매진이다, 전석 매진 이런 의미가 되겠습니다.
There's another meaning for sellout, though,
Yeah.
as a noun, right? If someone is a sellout, that means they've kind of ditched their convictions or their beliefs, right? Their principles, just for expedience or just for convenience, right?
아, 전혀 다른 의미가 되겠네요. 자신이 평소에 믿던 것들을 그냥 뭐 버리고 조금 더 편리한 길로 가는
Right.
그런 상황에서 that person is a sellout? 어떻게 표현을 하나요?
You would call that person a sellout. So, for example, Greta Thunberg, the environmentalist, if she all of a sudden started using plastic straws and using a gasoline car, then people would say, "Hey, you're a sellout. You're no longer a part of our cause."
그렇죠. 그러지 않는 사람이지만 만약에 이렇게 환경을 중요시하는 그레타 툰버그가 뭐 우리말로는 툰베리라 그러죠. 예, 그런 전혀 다른 행보를 만약에 보인다 그러면은 뭐야?
Yeah.
She's a complete sellout.
Yeah.
그동안에 말했던 환경했던 거는 어떻게 된 거니? 이렇게 말할 수 있겠죠. 가정입니다.
Or if you're betrayed or something,
Yeah,
right? If someone's not loyal anymore.
그렇습니다. And to draw a lot of people.
Yeah, to attract,
Yeah.
right? To move something by pulling it in. So the fans were drawn to the stadiums.
That's right. 이렇게 끌어들이는 것을 drawing a lot of people이라고 해요. You can use it as a noun as well, right?
Yeah,
It's a big draw.
It's a big draw, and it's the same spelling as when you draw a picture. So GRAW.
네. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. All 5 games on opening day of the 2025 Korea Baseball Organization season sold out on the weekend, drawing nearly 110,000 fans nationwide, marking the 3rd consecutive season opener to sell out.
The International Olympic Committee has elected Zimbabwean sports minister and two-time Olympic swimming champion, Kirsty Coventry as its 10th president, making her the first woman and first African to hold the position.
국제올림픽위원회 IOC 총회에서 짐바브웨의 체육 청소년부 장관이자 올림픽 수영 2관왕인 커스티 커번트리가 제10대 위원장으로 선출되면서 IOC 역사상 첫 아프리카 출신이자 첫 여성 위원장이 탄생했습니다.
Yeah, so a vote was held last Friday to choose the successor of Thomas Bach, who has been the IOC president since 2013. And Coventry actually won 49 out of 97 votes, so just over a simple majority. She's 41 years old, and like the headline suggests, she's a former Olympic swimming champion. And her campaign to run for this position was really focused on low-cost, eco-friendly, and having a harmonious sort of Olympic Games. So she is the first woman and the 10th. And I looked at sort of a list of all the former IOC presidents, and they've all been European male, except for one American man. But she is sort of breaking barriers here as the first woman to lead the IOC, which is a very powerful position.
It is a very powerful position, yeah. She was elected.
Yeah, if you're elected, pretty simple enough. You're selected or you're chosen.
그렇죠.
Elections.
선출됐다. 선거로 이렇게 뽑혔을 때 be elected라고 표현을 수동태로 할 수도 있겠고 아니면은 이제 누가 이렇게 선출을 했느냐. The IOC elected Coventry 이렇게 표현할 수도 있겠죠.
Right.
능동태로.
And the IOC members elected Coventry. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
IOC.
Coventry was selected by the
Yeah.
IOC. That's what I meant.
맞아요. 수동태, 능동태 다 가능하겠고. And holding the position, what does that mean?
Yeah, if you hold a position, that means you're occupying a certain role or a job. Usually that means that job has some responsibility and authority with that role.
자, 그러니까 어떤 위치, 직책을 맡다라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 hold a position. 이 position이라는 게 그러니까 어떤 자리를 보통 얘기하거든요. 여기서 그런 의미가 되겠고 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The International Olympic Committee, or IOC, has elected Zimbabwean sports minister and two-time Olympic swimming champion Kirsty Coventry as its 10th president, making her the first woman and first African to hold the position. Let's move on to the next headline.
The BBC has underscored expert warnings that kitchen sponges can harbor up to 54 billion bacteria per square centimeter, as they provide an ideal environment for bacteria to thrive.
BBC는 부엌에서 사용하는 스펀지형 수세미가 세균이 번식하기 좋은 환경을 갖춘 탓에 1제곱센티미터당 세균이 최대 540억 마리까지 발견될 수 있다는 전문가의 경고를 보도했습니다.
Yeah, I've always thought about this because sponges, by definition, they soak up everything, liquids and everything, and that means they're warm, they're damp, and
they might have food waste.
And they might have food waste in it.
them,
So it's a perfect environment for these sort of microbial organisms to sort of feast on. And so, like the headline suggests, what the BBC did was they highlighted or they emphasized, they underscored this new study by this German microbiologist in 2017, which found that a whopping 362 species of microbes were found in a sponge, and the density of bacteria reached up to 54 billion individuals per square centimeters, and that's the same as a human stool sample.
그래요. 자, 이게 2017년 보고서 내용인데 이거를 BBC가 재조명한 겁니다. 그러면서 하나의 그 특별 기사를 쓴 거죠. 그래서 2017년 보고서 내용에 따르면은 이렇게 우리가 주방 그 설거지할 때 쓰는 스펀지를 좀 유심히 살펴봐야겠다라는 기사를 쓴 거고요. 뭐 가능하면 스펀지보다는 뭐 브러쉬를 쓰는 거를 좀 추천한다 이런 내용도 들어 있고 이 이제 1제곱센티미터당 540억 마리의 세균이 들어 있는 거는 stool. 그래서 stool이라는 거는 우리 변입니다, 변. 그것만큼이나
Yeah.
세균이 많은 득실득실되는 아주 깨끗하지 않은 환경이니 요거를 좀 생각을 해라. 다 그렇다는 건 아닙니다. 네.
Right, because some people think that heat or hot water can actually eliminate this, but that didn't really help either, according to this study. But before you go home and throw your sponge away, it's important to note that this study also found that any food poisoning cases or sicknesses involved or directly related to this was not as high. So, in fact, 90% of any hospitalizations for these sort of food poisonings are linked to just 5 pathogens. These are bacteria, things like salmonella. So thankfully, these are quite rare in sponges. So
That is true. Absolutely. 그래요. 근데 이렇게나 많은 세균이 득실되는 스펀지는 좀 드물기는 합니다. 늘상 다 그렇다는 건 아니고요. 그다음 또 스펀지를 우리가 잘 건조시키고 거기에 음식물 찌꺼기가 하나도 없게끔 잘 관리를 하면 괜찮아요. 근데 문제는 습하고 damp, 그 다음에는 이제 food waste, 음식물 쓰레기가 거기에 껴 있고, 그 다음에 하나는 또 뭐였죠?
Warm. Yeah.
그죠. 따뜻한 이런 환경을 방치를 해두면은 따뜻함 속에서 음식물이 이제 더 썩어서 세균이 번식을 할 수 있다. 이런
Yeah.
얘기였거든요.
I think it's just best to practice good, clean hygiene
Hygiene.
practices in
Yep.
the kitchen because if, say, for example, salmonella bacteria got into the sponge, that's when you get in trouble. But what you want to do is you want to separate your meats when you're handling raw sort of chicken or pork, perhaps. You want to keep that separate. You want to clean your cutting board and your knife, right?
Exactly. Practicing hygiene. 굉장히 좋은 표현인데요. 좋은 위생 습관을 들인다. 이거 영어로는 practicing hygiene이라고
Good
합니다.
hygiene practices, right?
그렇죠.
Yeah, you can say as well.
네, 그래서 practice라는 게 여기서는 연습이 아니고요. 실제로 어떤 행동을 한다라는 뜻인데 평소에 우리가 위생을 잘 생각하고 그다음에 수세미를 잘 건조시키고 깨끗하게 유지하면 그러면 괜찮습니다.
Yeah, all throughout the pandemic, we talked about practicing good hygiene.
Yes,
right?
practicing good hygiene. That's right. Washing your hands for, was it 1 to 2 minutes or something?
Right,
I don't
singing happy
think-
birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Covering your mouth
Mouth.
with your elbow, sort
Yeah.
of when you sneeze.
Absolutely.
We should still be doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
그래요. 자, 여기서 underscore라는 거는 뭐 highlighting, 강조하다, 재조명하다 이런 의미로 해석을 할 수 있겠고, 그다음에 harbor 한번 보겠습니다.
Oh, yeah. So to harbor something would be to protect or sort of shelter something. A good example is always if there's a criminal and criminal is trying to hide from the police and you help that person hide from the police, that means you are harboring a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. harbor something이라는 것은 무언가에 집이 된다라는 의미가 원래는 있어요. 그러니까 이 수세미가 박테리아의 밀집 장소가 될 수 있다. These kitchen sponges can harbor a lot of bacteria. So that's why you want to keep it clean.
Right.
그 다음에는 bacteria thrive under certain conditions.
Yes, so it prospers and flourishes. It blooms. So it grows and expands, basically.
그렇죠. thrive라는 것은 아주 잘 지낸다라는 의미가 있습니다. 그래서 그냥 이렇게 박테리아가 뭐 조금 뭐 생기고 하는 정도가 아니라요. 엄청나게 번식을 하는 게 여기서는 thrive가 되겠고 식물도 그냥 자라는 식물이 있고요. 그다음에 굉장히 잘 자라는 식물들이 있어요. 그거를 케어링을 잘 해주고 좋은 뭐 빛을 받고 좋은 뭐 물이나 이런 뭐라 그러나요? 비료 이런 거 속에서 식물을 키우면 the plants not only just live, they can thrive.
Right.
그러면 아주 잎사귀도 잘 나고 이럴 수도 있겠죠.
And people can
People,
thrive, obviously,
people.
right?
네.
Let's say, he went to med school and he thrived at med school, meaning he did very well.
그렇죠. 네. 그래서 의대에 갔는데 이 학생이 정말 날개 단 것처럼
Yeah, exactly.
공부를 너무나 재미있게 잘하고 잘 지냈다. 그래서 그냥 지내는 정도가 아니라 이때는 이제 어떤 학교니까 공부도 잘하고 즐기고 이랬다. 그랬을 때 영어로는 he thrived at med school. 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있을 것 같네요. Thrive. It's just not just living. It's not just surviving.
Yeah.
It's surviving really well. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The BBC has underscored expert warnings that kitchen sponges can harbour up to 54 billion bacteria per square centimetre as they provide an ideal environment for bacteria to thrive. Now let's move on to the final headline.
A series of hacks known as sleep maxing, aimed at improving sleep and ranging from taking melatonin supplements to mouth taping for nasal breathing, has become a trending topic on social media.
멜라토닌 보충제 복용부터 코로 숨쉬기 위한 입 테이핑까지 수면을 개선해준다는 일명 sleep maxing으로 알려진 다양한 방법들이 소셜미디어에서 화제가 되고 있습니다. 이 스펠링이 sleep, M-A-X-X-I-N-G.
Yeah.
이게 X가 두 개 들어가네요?
It's not really a real word. I mean, it's a neologism.
Yeah. 소셜
right?
미디어에서 만든 단어죠.
Yeah. The important thing here is that it's a hack, right? So these sort of kind of quick ways, shortcuts to achieving some sort of result. And in this case, we're talking about people who have trouble falling asleep,
Right.
Which I know a lot of people suffer from. So there are many sort of what do we call those? Like not urban legends, but things that come down from generations.
Oh, like midwives.
Old wives' tales.
Old wives' tales. Yeah.
Those
not
are
midwives,
things, they're not really proven in fact, but you see these things on the internet and they always look good. But I guess there are some ways such as taking melatonin. Melatonin's I believe it's an over the counter. No, it's not over the counter. It's prescribed here in Korea, but you can get it over the counter in other countries, but that
Okay.
helps in sleeping. But experts say really there's no real hack. The best way is to just sleep consistently on a consistent basis. Don't overeat before you go to bed. Excuse me, and reducing caffeine intake before later in the day, which is another way too. Exercise, I think, helps as well.
Absolutely. hack. H-A-C-K. 이건 이제 꿀팁이라는 의미로 보시면 되겠습니다.
Which is kind of a new expression too.
Yeah, it
right?
is. Yeah, life hacks. 그냥 hacks라고도 하는데 여기서는 이제 sleeping hack가 되겠죠. 잠 잘 자는 꿀팁들 해서 소셜 미디어에 요즘 이게 유행이래요. sleep maxing이라는 표현을 쓰면서 어떻게 하면은 잘 수 있는가 그러면서 멜라토닌 보충제를 복용해라 입에다가 테이프를 이렇게 붙여가지고 코로 숨쉬게 해라 등등등 여러 가지 이런 키워드가 유행이랍니다. hack
Yeah.
네.
Hack has different meanings too, if I
Yeah.
may just explain real
Yeah,
quick,
sure.
right? Like hack as a verb, it means to cut.
Cut.
Very, not in a clean way. It's just kind of a rough
Yeah.
cut. But also computer hacking, right? When you sort of invade another computer system, hacking is used a lot, right?
Exactly. 예, 우리가 해크라는 단어를 많이 쓰네요. 해킹할 때도 쓰고 그다음에 원래는 이제 자르다라는 의미도 있는데 좀 예쁘게 자르는 게 아니라 정말 이렇게 어떻게 보면 도끼로 나무를 그냥 마구잡이로 이렇게 자를 때 아니면 토막 낼 때
Yeah.
네, 그럴 때 해킹이라고 하기도 하는데 자, 그런 의미보다는 여기선 꿀팁 hack H-A-C-K 그다음에 보충제 supplement
Yeah, supplement would be something that supports. You see the SUPP there. So something that's added to something in order to complete or enhance it. In this case, what's left out is melatonin is a dietary supplement, right? So it's a supplement that helps in your diet and in your regular life too, I guess.
Yep, 맞아요. 자, 보충제 supplement. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A series of hacks known as sleep maxing, aimed at improving sleep and ranging from taking melatonin supplements to mouth taping for nasal breathing, has become a trending topic on social media. 요 trending이라는 단어도 알아두시면 좋습니다. 요즘에 최대 그 관심사다 이런 의미죠.
So it's popular.
네. Well, that's it for the headlines.
A survey has revealed that in 2024, men living in Seoul showed a greater increase in willingness to become parents compared to the previous year, while the inclination among women grew at a slower rate.
2024년 서울 시민을 대상으로 한 설문조사 결과 남성들은 부모가 되겠다는 의향이 전년 대비 많이 높아진 반면 여성들은 그 오름세가 더딘 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this is the Seoul Family Center who did a survey in July 2024 of 884 childless individuals, all aged between 20 and 49. And the idea was to get their perception on family. And they were asked if they would give a score between 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, on their intention to become a parent. And they've been doing this for a number of years. So for men, it was up. 3.7 is the score. That was up from 3.5 the previous year and 3.3 in 2022 and 2021. For women, though, the score stayed at 3.0. That was the same in 2023 as well. It was 2.7 in 2021 and 2022. So we have seen an increase in both, but it seems like the inclination is slower in women.
So this was a survey of people in their 20s to 40s.
Yes.
And as you said, more men now want to become parents.
Yeah.
But women, well, not more women, but again, not less, just the same as before.
Yeah, there's not a huge increase
Right,
there. But
right.
but again, this is only 884 people surveyed, so it's not necessarily reflective of the whole population. That said, there was an interesting thing. They also asked why they might not want to be parents. And the top answers for both men and women were, I'm not sure I can raise a child as well as I want to. So that was the biggest concern. And the second highest concern was Korean society is not an ideal place to raise a child.
그래요. 그러니까 1점에서 5점까지 이제 체크를 하는 건데 20대에서 40대 800명 정도를 대상으로 설문조사를 실시했습니다. 서울시에서요. 그랬더니 여성 같은 경우에는 전년이랑 비슷하게 3점 정도가 나왔어요. 부모가 되고 싶다는 여성이 3점. 남성들은 전년에 비해서 조금 0.2점 올라가지고요. 3.7점입니다. 남성들이 좀 더 부모가 되고 싶다라는 의향을 보이고 있다라는 얘기인데 이런 의향, 영어로는 inclination.
Yes. If you are inclined to do something, if you have an inclination, it means you are naturally wanting it or naturally going towards it. You have a tendency for it, whatever it may be.
네. 또 비슷한 말로 뭐 하고 싶어 하는 마음이죠. willingness.
Yes, it's very similar.
Similar,
The difference is inclination is more about your instinct, what you're born with,
okay.
whereas willingness is about wanting to. If you're willing to do something, that means you want to do it or you are up for doing it. Your willingness is that. So it's slightly different, but they're pretty much the same sort of meaning.
여기서는 비슷한 의미로 쓰였지만 엄밀히 따지면 좀 다릅니다. willingness는 의지가 좀 더 부각이 되는 표현이라면 inclination은 끌리는 것이 좀 더 강하죠. 그래서 어떤 뭐 성향이 될 수도 있어요. 엄밀히 따지자면 그렇고 여기서는 다 이제 부모가 되고 싶은 마음이라고 할 수 있겠네요. Here's the headline again. A survey has revealed that in 2024, men living in Seoul showed a greater increase in willingness to become parents compared to the previous year, while the inclination among women grew at a slower pace. Let's move on.
The 2025 World Happiness Report ranks Koreans highest among G20 nations for dining alone, with only 1.6 shared dinners per week, while their happiness ranks 58th out of 147, barely making the top 40%.
2025년 세계 행복 보고서에 따르면 우리나라는 다른 사람과 함께 저녁 식사를 하는 횟수가 주당 1.6회에 불과하고 혼자 식사하는 이른바 혼밥 횟수가 주요 20개국 G20 중에서 가장 높았으며 전체 행복 순위는 147개국 중 58위로 상위 40%에 겨우 든 것으로 집계됐습니다. Tell us more.
It's a very hard thing to measure. You know, what is happiness? It's subjective. And it should be said that this annual report, in which Korea is often sort of not quite at the top, is self-reported. So it's up to individuals to say whether they're happy or not.
Okay.
But the big things that seems to be highlighted here is about the shared meals. And the report highlights that eating with others is directly linked to life satisfaction. And that having more solo dinners in Korea amongst Koreans means there's a lower level of life satisfaction because there's a lack of social interaction, perhaps. I'm not sure whether I agree with this because I enjoy dining solo quite a bit.
So do I, yeah.
One example they gave, there was in the UK, Alberto Prati, who's a researcher for UCL, University College London, gave the example of the University of Oxford, where they all eat together on these very long wooden tables like in Harry Potter. And as this is a great example that other workplaces and schools should follow, I hate eating like that. I cannot stand being in a busy, noisy room. Give me a quiet dining room with a couple of friends. So I don't know whether this is really indicative of Koreans' happiness, but certainly we're eating solo a lot more than we used to.
그렇습니다. 그러니까 일부 연구에서는 이렇게 혼자 밥을 먹는, 혼밥을 하는 비율이 많은 나라일수록 행복 지수가 낮다라는 그런 연구도 있기는 합니다. 그런 의미에서 우리나라가 혼밥 횟수가 주요 20개국 중에서 가장 높고, 그 다음에 행복 순위도 꽤 낮은 편이에요. 147개국 중에서 이번에 58위를 했는데, 그렇게 보면은 연관이 있지 않을까, 그렇게 분석이 될 수 있겠지만, 또 한편으로는 폴 선생님이나 저나 좀 아이 성향이 있어서 그런지 모르겠지만 사실 혼밥을 저희는 즐기거든요.
Yeah.
불행하지 않는데.
Well, let's give another situation. What if you have to eat with your co-workers? If you get on with them, great.
Yeah.
But if you're eating with your boss, in Korea there are certain social hierarchies and rules you have to observe. And it's a lot more stressful eating with your boss and your senior colleagues than eating alone.
맞아요.
So I think there are cultural differences that are not being taken into account in this report. And we as
Exactly.
Korea, we know that for many years we were forced to eat together a lot of the time.
Yeah,
So actually, being independent, eating alone can be seen as actually a really happy thing sometimes.
참비. 네, 그렇습니다. 상황에 따라 어떻게 누구랑 식사를 하느냐에 따라서 전혀 그 행복 정도가 달라지겠죠.
And on that note, I'd like to say I'm not having lunch with you, Sue.
Thank you very much. 자, 그래서 이렇게 보게 되면은 우리나라는 이제 선진국이라고 할 수 있겠죠. 경제 수준으로 볼 때는 굉장히 부유한 나라임에도 불구하고 행복 순위는 그렇게까지는 높지 않다. 이렇게 분석이 되고 있습니다. 전해는 52위였는데요. 그다음에 이제 가장 최근 리스트에서는 58위로 좀 떨어졌어요. 그다음에 이 행복을 그럼 어떻게 측정을 하느냐, 여러 가지 척도가 있는데 그 중에서는 이제 삶의 선택의 자유라는 항목이 있었는데 거기서 102위 굉장히 낮게 나왔고요. 그다음에 어려움이 있을 때 도움을 청할 사람이 있느냐, social support라는 항목인데 이것도 85위에서 높지 않습니다. 이런 것들이 좀 낮게 나온 것 같고, 식사는 이제 혼밥하는 횟수 굉장히 높게 나왔고요.
Yeah, I think honbap is not as big a problem as other issues
Yeah,
that we may
social support is
face
a
in
big one.
Korea.
Yeah.
And also, again, it's self-reported. That is not every single Korean talking
right.
about their happiness, and I think that's important to note sometimes.
Let's talk about shared dinners.
Which I'm not going to have with you, Sue, or a shared lunch. Not today. Not another day, Sue. Another day.
okay.
A shared dinner is when you share your dinner with someone, meaning you eat together. So, for example, when I'm working, I often have a shared lunch with my colleagues because we all go to the same restaurant and we sit down, whereas I dine alone. I don't share dinner with anyone except if it's my wife.
그래요. 함께 먹는 식사를 shared dinner라고 하겠죠. dinner는 보통 저녁 식사이긴 합니다만, shared lunch, shared breakfast는 보통 share 안 하죠. 혼자 먹으니까 집에서.
but when I was a student, I lived in shared accommodation.
오케이. 누군가와 함께 하는 것을 이제 다 shared something. 그래서 룸메이트랑 같이 방을 쓰거나 이러면은 shared accommodation이라고 할 수 있겠고요. 자, 그다음에 barely.
Just about. You almost weren't able to do it, or it almost didn't make it in some way. If you do something barely, or you make it barely, it means it's just in the nick of time, or just over that percentage that you needed to get.
겨우 간신히 뭐뭐뭐 할 때 barely 뭐뭐뭐 B-A-R-E-L-Y 이렇게 씁니다. Alright, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The 2025 World Happiness Report ranks Koreans highest among G20 nations for dining alone, with only 1.6 shared dinners per week, while their happiness ranks 58th out of 147, barely making the top 40%.
Nolan Darbar, who was paralyzed below the shoulders and received a brain chip implant last year that translates thoughts into computer commands, has reported that his ability to use the device has advanced to the point where he can now play chess and video games.
어깨 아래 모든 신체가 마비된 환자로 작년에 생각을 컴퓨터 명령으로 바꿔주는 칩을 뇌에 이식받은 널란드 아르보가 이후 칩을 사용하는 능력이 점점 발전해 지금은 체스와 비디오 게임을 즐길 수 있을 정도가 됐다고 밝혔습니다. In fact, I understand he's really good.
He is. Forget about the human washing machine, Sue. This really is a miracle of technology. He had this implant in his brain, and when he woke up from surgery, all he had to do was think about wiggling his fingers, and then he was able to control a cursor on a computer.
Wow.
And for him, he said it was so sci-fi. It's unbelievable that he was able to do this. And now he's got to the point where he can actually beat his friends at video games. It's incredible. And they're hoping that, the future of this could be that he could control his own wheelchair, for example, or that he could control a robot or some kind of machinery. The issue is, though, at one point, there was a disconnection, a partial disconnection from the brain. They were able to fix it. However, there is this possibility that these implants may not work perfectly and there may be issues like this in the future. That said, it's incredible that a man paralyzed from the shoulders down is now able to live his life so much more fully.
그러게 말입니다. 이게 일론 머스크의 스타트업 뉴럴링크 기술을 이용한 거죠. It's not perfect, obviously, because it is in its sort of early phase, and there's privacy issues and things like that as
You
well.
don't really want people looking into your brain all the time, Sue.
But that is a huge milestone. Now, what's an implant?
It's something you get put in your body. So, for example, you can have a technological implant, or you could have something like a piece of metal would also be an implant.
Yeah.
Like you can have surgery in your hip and get an implant because a piece of your hip needs to be replaced, or other parts of your body. But whatever it is, it's something that's going into our body. We're putting it in there for some reason.
명사로 implant는 이식, 동사로 implant는 이식하다 같은 단어인데 이렇게 두 가지 품사 다 되고요. And to the point where는 뭘까요?
Yeah, if something happens to the point where it means it's got to that level, or it now has that ability. So we use it when we're talking about progress of some kind. So whether it's about our intelligence or our fitness or whatever it may be, we're using it to say, look, I can now do this. I've got to this level in terms of what is possible.
그래요. 자, to the point where 뭐뭐뭐는 뭐뭐 할 정도까지다. 뭐뭐 할 정도인데 여기서는 이제 체스 게임도 할 수 있고 비디오 게임도 할 수 있을 정도다라고 했는데요. 실제로 이 놀란드 아버 씨가 친구들이랑 이제 온라인 게임을 해가지고 이기기도 한대요. 이제는 이렇게 이 칩을 이용해서.
It's incredible, and I think it promises so much hope for other paraplegics and quadriplegics, those who might need a similar implant in the future.
네, 놀란드 아버 씨는 30세고요. 이 뉴럴링크의 첫 임상 시험자입니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Nolan Darboe, who is paralyzed below the shoulders and received a brain chip implant last year that translates thoughts into computer commands, has reported that his ability to use the device has advanced to the point where he can now play chess and video games. Let's move on to the next headline.
A study from Lund University has found that waist size is a better predictor of cancer risk than BMI in men, with an extra 4 inches increasing the risk by 25%, while in women, both measures are equally effective.
남성에게 있어 허리둘레가 체질량 지수 BMI보다 더 나은 암 위험 예측 지표라는 스웨덴 룬드 대학교의 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. 이에 따르면 남성은 허리둘레가 4인치 늘어날 경우 암 발병 위험이 25% 증가하며 여성은 허리둘레와 BMI의 지표 능력에 차이가 없는 것으로 나타났습니다. What do we know?
Well, we know that if, like me, you've got an extra 4 inches, well, that means your risk of cancer, if you're a man, is up by 25%. BMI, if you're up by 3.7%, that increases the risk by 19%. It's basically, for men, our waist size or our waistline is going to give a better indication, whereas for women, waist size or BMI is going to give an equally effective indicator. And this is a long study. It was done from 1981 through to 2019, 14 years looking at these subjects and following through. And they were looking at who was getting cancer and what the abdominal fat, this fat that gathers around the waistline, indicates, and it's a bigger indicator of where cancer may be present. So I need to lose some weight soon.
All right. What's a predictor?
It's something that helps us predict something, to forecast something. It's an indicator of some kind that gives us information.
그렇죠. 예측하게 하는 변수겠죠? predictor. BMI는 체질량 지수인데 body mass index. 예, 앞글자를 딴 겁니다. 체중을 키의 제곱으로 나눈 값이죠. 뭐 헬스장에서도 보통 이렇게 측정할 수도 있고 많이들 익숙하실 것 같습니다. 건강검진할 때도 체크하고요. 그 다음에 equally effective.
Yes, if two things or several things are equally effective, that means they're all as effective as the other, mean they can all do whatever it is as well as the others. So if something is equally more, it means it can do whatever in the same extent as the other thing.
동일하게 효과적이다. equally effective. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A study from Lund University has found that waist size is a better predictor of cancer risk than BMI in men, with an extra 4 inches increasing the risk by 25%, while in women, both measures are equally effective. Let's move on to the final headline.
A new study has found that some of the world's most celebrated tourist attractions leave travellers underwhelmed, with European landmarks making up the top 5 most disappointing destinations among 200 popular sites.
세계 최고 유명 관광지 중 일부는 여행객들에게 실망을 안겨주고 있다는 분석 결과가 나온 가운데 글로벌 관광 명소 200곳 중 가장 실망스러운 관광지 상위 5위권이 모두 유럽에 위치한 것으로 집계됐습니다. This is interesting.
It is, and it's basically, I think, the more famous the site, the less people will like it because they get disappointed. The biggest one, the most disappointing one, is actually in the UK. It's the UK's most famous theme park, Alton Towers, and that had the highest percentage of reviews that were specifically complaining about value for money. There was misleading ticket information. There were expectations that you had to pay for add-ons, and they were overpriced, and also there was difficulty with access to different areas. So this seems to be one of the big issues, expensive or overcrowded or lack of access. So, for example, the Széchenyi Baths and Pools in Hungary, in Budapest, reviews have complained it was overcrowded. The Trevi Fountain had a lot of complaints with people talking about it being crowded but also having accessibility issues. So it seems like people are going on holiday to see these acclaimed, these celebrated sites, but they're not getting their money's worth, or their expectations were too large to begin with.
대체적으로 이런 놀이동산은 좀 실망감이 큰 것 같네요. Alton Towers도 놀이동산이고, 그 다음에 헝가리 부다페스트에 있는 세체니 온천 같은 경우는 놀이동산은 아니지만 또 역시 좀 실망이었다라는 평이 많았고요. 그 외에도 아까 스페인의 시암파크라는 곳도 실망이다. 이렇게 실망을 한 곳들이 유럽에 참 많이 있는 것 같은데 그만큼 기대가 컸기 때문일 수도 있고요.
Yeah, I think it's quite common because things get overblown in the media and movies. We see destinations as being romantic or magical, and then we get there and they're just really touristy.
This was a survey of people where in Europe.
This is all over the world. It's 200 popular sites, but Europe certainly had the main ones, the most unpopular ones.
그래요. 첫 번째 표현을 좀 보겠습니다. Celebrated.
Oh, if something is celebrated or someone is celebrated, they are praised, they are respected, they are worshipped. We celebrate them.
그래요. Celebrated something 그러면은 이제 칭송한 것, 유명한 무엇 이런 의미겠죠. 여기서는 celebrated tourist attractions. 사람들이 다 좋다라고 평을 한 곳인데 정작 가서 보면은 너무 비싸거나 생각보다는 별로다. 이런 경우들이 있었다고 하고요. 그래서 느낀 게 They were underwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing word because it means you are disappointed. If you are underwhelmed, you don't get what you expected to get in terms of the feeling, in terms of the excitement. The opposite, overwhelmed, is when everything is too much. It's too loud or too noisy or too crowded, and we don't say whelmed. Usually. People say it as a joke sometimes, but we use underwhelmed or overwhelmed. So if you're underwhelmed, you're disappointed with whatever it is.
네, underwhelmed는 전혀 감동받지 못했다 이런 의미고 overwhelmed는 보통 벅찰 정도로 감동을 받았을 때 그런 벅찬 감정 overwhelmed라고 하는데요. 그냥 whelmed는 없습니다. 자, underwhelmed라는 표현 여기서 쓰였어요. 실망이란 의미겠죠. 참고로 이거는 이제 수화물 보관 서비스 회사인 레디컬 스토리지가 전 세계 관광 명소 200곳의 방문 후기 한 9만 개 이상의 그런 후기들을 분석해서 만든 리스트입니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A new study has found that some of the world's most celebrated tourist attractions leave travelers underwhelmed, with European landmarks making up the top 5 most disappointing destinations among 200 popular sites.
Actually, Sue, I tell you where I was not underwhelmed. Paris.
Ah.
The sights of Paris were so amazing. You know, whether it was Montmartre or whether it was the Eiffel Tower or the Pantheon, it was the place where I never felt underwhelmed.
Oh, interesting. And you lived in France for a bit, but
I
you
did, I lived
still
there.
enjoyed Paris.
Yeah, I lived in Lyon. It's a very different city. I was
it
also
is.
not underwhelmed by Lyon.
There you go. All right. Well, that's it for our headlines.
Credit cards were the most favored means of payment for Koreans last year, accounting for 46% of total private settlements, according to the central bank.
한국은행에 따르면 작년 한 해 한국인이 가장 선호한 지급 수단은 신용카드로 전체 결제 건수의 46%를 차지한 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more.
Right. So, this is definitely the case for me.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
carry around a lot of cash anymore. I actually don't even carry around my credit card anymore because I do everything on my phone. But it is through my credit card, which is on my phone.
Yeah.
But they are saying that credit cards were the most preferred payment method among South Koreans, making up 46.2% of total private transactions. And this is according to a Bank of Korea survey that was released on Tuesday. Debit cards followed at 16.4%, while cash usage dropped to 15.9%. Mobile card payments accounted for 12.9%, with higher adoption among younger generations. 36.8% of people in their 20s and 34.8% in their 30s use mobile cards. And among those aged 60 and older, 52.1% relied on credit cards, while cash still held a significant 30.2% share.
Okay. 여러분은 보통 이 지불 수단으로 뭘 많이 쓰시나요? 대부분은 신용카드를 많이 쓴다고 합니다. 영어로 신용카드는 credit card. 그 다음으로 직불카드를 많이 쓴다고 하는데요. 이거는 debit card라고 해요. D-E-B-I-T card, debit card. credit card, debit card. 자, 그 다음에 이제 모바일 카드. 그러니까 뭐 아까 얘기한 거 스마트폰에 들어있는 신용카드 말하는 거겠죠?
Yep.
예. 이런 것들도 많이 사용을 하고 그 다음으로 지금 보니까 현금을 여전히 그래도 한 30% 정도는 사용을 하기는 하네요. 예, 아직도 많이 사용을 합니다만 이제 대부분 연령대가 60대 이상인
Yep.
분들은 이제 30% 이상 현금을 사용한다고 합니다.
Yeah.
이렇게 뭔가를 선호할 때 영어로 뭐라고 하나요?
We use the word favor. So if you prefer something or when something is recommended, we can use the word favor.
야. 자, F-A-V-O-R or F-A-V-O-U-R. 두 가지 스펠링이 다 돼요. 보통 미국에서는 F-O-R 이렇게 쓰고 영연방 국가들, 영국, 캐나다, 호주, 또 어디가 있을까요? 이런 국가들, 뉴질랜드
Yep.
예, 이런 나라들에서는 죄송합니다. F-A-V-O-U-R.
Yep.
이렇게 뒤에 O-U-R로 쓰게 된다는 거 스펠링 차이 외에는 뭐 별 차이 없습니다. 자, 그다음에 settlement는 뭘까요?
Settlement. So settlement is the action or process of settling an account, but it basically means it's paying money to someone.
네. 여기서는 이제 지불 돈 내는 것을 얘기하죠. 그러나 이 settlement가 법적인 의미에서는 합의라는 의미가 있을 수 있고요. So you know, two parties, oftentimes they try to settle, so they have to come up with a sum of money, and they'll say, let's settle for I don't
Such
know.
and such amount.
Yeah, 얼마. 그래가지고 얼마에 합의하시죠.
Yep.
할 때 그 settle이라는 단어를 똑같이 쓰긴 합니다만 여기서는 그냥 이제 뭔가 구입할 때 쓰는 지불 수단으로의 settlement. 인 것 같아요. 뭐 그 외에도 또 여러 가지 의미가 있습니다만 오늘은 이제 돈과 관련된 것만. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Credit cards were the most favored means of payment for Koreans last year, accounting for 46% of total private settlements, according to the central bank. Of course, the Central Bank of Korea would be the Bank of Korea, the BOK. Let's move on to the second headline.
The proportion of Koreans who view marriage as essential edged up last year, reflecting a more positive perception of tying the knot amid the country's demographic challenges.
지난해 실시한 통계청 사회조사에서 결혼을 해야 한다고 응답한 비중이 늘어났습니다. 이는 인구 감소라는 어려운 국내 현실 속에서 결혼에 대한 긍정적인 인식이 커지고 있음을 반영하는 결과입니다. So, in reality, people getting married are going down, but the perception of marriage, the sort of the inclination or the, you know, people thinking that you need to get married, that's actually going up.
Yeah, the thought process, I guess, or what
Interesting.
people think about marriage. So the proportion of South Koreans who consider marriage as essential has gone up in 2024, and that's a reverse from a long-term decline. And this is according to government data. So it was according to a biennial survey, and it said that 52.5% of respondents aged 13 and older viewed marriage as necessary, and that was up 2.5 percentage points from 2022. Additionally, 68.4% said that having children after marriage is essential, and that marked a 3.1 percentage point increase. And in fact, I guess that reflects, or the stats actually reflected a lot of people's changes in perception, because the marriage rates also saw a boost, with 222,422 couples tying the knot in 2024, and that was a 14.9% surge, the steepest annual rise since 1981. And officials are attributing the trends to shifting attitudes towards marriage and parenthood among younger generations.
It's interesting. We had a different survey yesterday showing that people, you know, who want kids, that number's obviously going down.
Yeah.
But more men want to become parents than women. That was an interesting thing that we looked at yesterday.
Yeah.
So overall, more people want to get married, but then having kids is a different issue.
Yeah, I don't know. So wanting to get married and viewing marriage as essential is also, I think, a different issue as well.
Yeah, they're all separate.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at the term to edge up.
To edge up. So if we say something edged up, it doesn't mean that it increased by a lot. So we use this when something rises very slightly, or when something moves towards something gradually.
So it's going up, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
조금만 올랐을 때 edge up라고 표현할 수 있겠어요. EDGE. 자, 그다음에는 what's a perception?
A perception is like a belief or an opinion, and it's often held by many people and based on how things seem. So it's a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something. So it's like a mental impression.
그래요. Perception이라는 것은 인식입니다. The thought that you have. So the thought people have about marriage is positive, it looks like. That doesn't mean that more people are getting married. Or, well, in fact, some of the stats show that people are getting married more than a couple of years ago.
It has gone
maybe
up,
because of COVID and things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, the perception nonetheless is positive. Tying the knot is another way of saying getting married.
Yep.
And you can say get married, get hitched, What else? So there's a lot. I
Walk
can't.
down the aisle.
Walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They're all synonyms of getting married. All right, I'm going to read this headline again. The proportion of Koreans who view marriage as essential edged up last year, reflecting a more positive perception of tying the knot amid the country's demographic challenges.
An 18th century Korean moon jar from the Joseon dynasty has sold at auction for $2.8 million at Christie's New York, surpassing its pre-auction estimate.
18세기 조선시대 백자 달 항아리가 미국 크리스티즈 경매에서 당초 추정가를 웃도는 280만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 41억 원에 낙찰됐습니다. So it fetched quite a bit of money.
Yeah, it did. So the pre-auction estimate was about $1.8 to $2.5 million. So it definitely surpassed that, selling at $2.83 million. So it's a white porcelain jar. And these moon jars, they're famous for their seamless round form and luminous glaze. And it's considered a hallmark of Korean ceramic artistry. And according to Christie's head of Japanese and Korean art, they say that it's unlike other Korean ceramics influenced by China. The moon jar is uniquely Korean. That's what makes it special.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. If you just look at it, it's like, it's so pure and it's very simple, but there's this beauty about it. And with only about 20 known surviving examples, moon jars are highly prized for their rarity and craftsmanship. And this jar's particularly wide shape was hailed as a significant technical achievement given the difficulty of firing these large vessels. So the sale follows a record-breaking 4.56 million auction of another moon jar back in 2023. Further cementing their status as cultural treasures.
네. 자, 이 문장을 좀 보게 되면은 This moon jar sold at auction이라고 했습니다.
Yeah.
자칫 잘못 보면은 문자가 주어가 돼가지고 무언가를 팔았나?
Yeah.
이렇게 보일 수 있는데 그게 아니죠.
Yeah,
What does
yeah.
it mean here?
It means that it was up for auction, basically. So when something is sold at auction, it means to sell goods or property through a public sale. That's the auction, where potential buyers have to compete by making increasingly higher bids until one person offers the highest price, at which point the item is sold to that person that made the highest bid.
Yeah, so we have these expressions for auctions specifically.
Yeah.
이렇게 경매와 관련된 표현들이 따로 있는데 경매 얼마에 낙찰되다, 뭐 경매 얼마에 팔리다라고 할 때 그 팔린 물건을 주어로 해서 The moon jar sold for 얼마
Yeah.
아니면 sold at auction for 얼마 이렇게 표현할 수 있고요. 또 fetch도 많이 씁니다.
Yeah,
The moon jar fetched what
So
was
and
it?
so amount.
$2.8 million 이런 식으로 표현할 수도 있어요.
There's also another expression that we use a lot, go under the hammer.
Yeah, that's right. 그래요. 이렇게 what's the hammer called? There's another name for it, but you know what we're talking about. It's like 땅땅
Yeah, it's
해가지고
that sound. When we say sold,
yeah,
they
exactly.
pound the hammer. Yeah.
그렇습니다. 자, 그래서 이렇게 좀 다양한 표현이 경매에서 쓰이고 경매에서는 영어로 at auction이라고 해서 something sold at auction. 경매로 얼마에 팔렸다. 그래서 뒤에 for가 붙어요. 그 가격 앞에는.
Yep.
자, 그다음에 pre-auction estimate라는 표현을 볼게요.
So pre-auction estimate. So this particular moon jar, its pre-auction estimate was about 1.8 to 2.5 million. They really don't know how much it's going to sell for because it's up to the bidders. It's up to the buyers to kind of finalize the price. It's up to how much they're willing to pay for something, right?
Exactly.
So that's why they always have this sort of pre-auction estimate. It's also known as a pre-sale estimate. And it's the estimated price range in which an item is expected to sell at an auction.
Exactly. pre 그러면은 뭐뭐 이전, auction, pre-auction이니까 경매가 실제로 이루어지기 전에 사람들이 추정을 했습니다. 얼마에 낙찰이 되겠다. estimate가 바로 그런 추정가인데요. 그것을 훨씬 웃도는 가격에 낙찰이 됐습니다. 자, 그리고 그 망치 이름은 gavel이네요.
Yes,
G-A-V-E-L.
Right.
네, 그래서 이게 작은 나무로 된 망치가 아닌데 영어로는
well,
망치는
We
아니지만
still call it a hammer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
묘사할 때는 이제 gavel을 hammer라고 뭐 묘사할 수도 있어요. 모양이 그렇다 보니까 네. 그래서 이제 그런 표현도 같이 알아두면 좋겠죠. 경매와 관련된 여러 가지 표현들 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. An 18th century Korean moon jar from the Joseon dynasty has sold at auction for $2.8 million at Christie's, New York, surpassing its pre-auction estimate. Let's move on to the next headline.
The UN has warned that retreating glaciers could disrupt food and water supplies for billions as rapid ice loss reshapes ecosystems and agriculture across mountain regions worldwide.
자, 유엔은 빠르게 녹아내리는 빙하로 인해 세계 곳곳의 생태계와 산악지대의 농업이 타격을 입으면서 전 세계 수십억 명이 식량 그리고 물 부족 사태를 겪게 될 수 있다고 경고했습니다. Tell us more.
Right. So, we talked about how helpless we are in the face of nature. And this is another example of just that. So the UN has warned that rapid glacier loss is jeopardizing water and food supplies for 2 billion people. So this is according to a UNESCO report highlighting the risk to global agriculture with 2/3 of irrigated farms relying on shrinking mountain water sources. So the World Meteorological Organization has reported record glacier loss over the past 3 years, hitting Norway, Sweden, the Andes, and East Africa the hardest. And they say that developing nations are especially vulnerable, with up to half of mountain populations already facing food insecurity. Melting ice fuels droughts, avalanches, and sudden floods, while releasing methane from thawing permafrost as well. So experts say that half of all glacier mass could vanish by the year 2100 without urgent climate action.
자, 여기서 그 retreating이라는 단어가 나옵니다. Retreating glaciers.
Yeah.
You might hear the word reclining glaciers or melting glaciers. What does retreating mean?
Well, retreating basically means to go back, but retreating in this case means that the glacier is becoming smaller and smaller.
자, 그러니까 후퇴하다라는 의미가 원래는 있는데요. 눈이 녹는다라는 의미로 여기서는 쓰였습니다. 그래서 점점 뭔가가 뒤로 물러가는 것 같은 느낌이고. And to reshape?
To reshape something means to shape or form something differently or again.
모양을 변경하는 거죠. reshaping이라는 것이.
Yep.
그래서 여기서는 reshaping the ecosystem이라고 했습니다. 생태계가 거의 재편이 되는 것 같은 그런 느낌이라고 볼 수 있을 것 같네요. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The UN has warned that retreating glaciers could disrupt food and water supplies for billions as rapid ice loss reshapes ecosystems and agriculture across mountain regions worldwide. Now let's move on to the final headline.
A jetliner en route from Los Angeles to Shanghai was forced to turn around after it was discovered that one of the pilots had taken off without a passport.
미국 로스앤젤레스에서 중국 상하이로 향하던 여객기에서 조종사 중 한 명이 여권 없이 탑승한 사실이 알려지면서 비행기가 긴급 회항하는 일이 발생했습니다. So I understand this was about 2 hours after the plane had actually taken off. So tell us more.
Yeah, it happens. It happens, but it will be frustrating. So what happened was a United Airline Boeing 787 flight from Los Angeles to Shanghai. It had to go back before or after a pilot realized that, oops, I forgot my passport. So this was flight UA198. It was carrying about 250 passengers and 13 crew members. And it had to fly back to where it started, or it returned to San Francisco 2 hours into its journey. A new crew took over, and the flight reached Shanghai 6 hours late. So passengers, of course, frustrated. They were very frustrated, and a lot of people called the mistake unacceptable. And aviation expert Shakur Yusuf criticized United Airlines for a lack of discipline, adding that the blunder cost the airline in fuel and compensation, which is true. I mean, you know, if you make a really big mistake, it is going to have, you're going to have to be responsible for that. And yeah, it's going to cost you.
I feel like if I were a passenger on this flight, I would have been a little dumbfounded. And I would have gone, what?
Yeah.
We're
You
going
forgot
back
your
because
passport?
of what? Exactly.
But I mean, if you think about it, I'm sure there are a lot of people who made it to the airport because they had to catch a flight, but realized that they left their passport
Yeah.
at home.
그러게
And
말입니다.
it can happen. It can happen.
It can happen, yeah. I mean,
but
yeah.
probably not so much to pilots.
자, 그래서 LA를 떠난 지 2시간 만에 기내 방송이 나왔대요. 그러면서 이만저만해서 파일럿가 여권을 두고 왔기 때문에 다시 LA로 돌아가야 된다. 그래서 이륙한 지 3시간 만에 다시 LA 공항에 도착을 했고 그래서 이제 결과적으로는 원래 샹하이에 도착하려고 했던 시간보다 6시간이나 지연이 돼서 착륙을 했다라고 합니다. 뭐 상당히 많은 그 손실금도 나왔다고
Yeah.
하고 무엇보다 이제 승객들이 많이 피해를 입었겠죠, 시간적으로.
I'm surprised that they actually let the passengers know that it was because the pilot left his passport at home because there are so many flights that are delayed and even postponed to the next day without the passengers really knowing why.
But they were honest, I guess.
Yeah.
If you look at the silver lining there. 네, 뭐 숨기지 않고 솔직하게 기내 방송에서 얘기를 했답니다.
Yeah, because last summer my sister was she came to Korea from the States for a visit. Both of her flights coming to Korea and going back to the States were delayed by like her flight going back to the States was delayed to the next day, and she found out like almost the day of. Yeah.
그렇군요. 그래서 이제 항공사 측에서는 승객들에게 뭐 작은아마 좀 보상을 하기 위해서 식사 쿠폰을 제공했다고 해요.
Oh, that's not gonna cut it.
그러니까 $30, 그러니까 우리 돈으로 한 4만 원 좀 넘는 정도 금액인데 이제 식사 쿠폰은 다 지급했다고 합니다.
Yeah.
네, 또 일정 변경이 필요한 승객에게는 또 그렇게 안내를 해줬다고 하고요. 자, 표현 한번 보겠습니다. En route.
En route. En route means during the course of a journey or on the way.
그러니까 on the way to Shanghai 이런 뜻인데 en route to Shanghai 이렇게 표현을 했어요. How do you spell en route?
En route. The spelling's a little tricky, so it's E-N space R-O-U-T-E.
Yeah, I
En
think it
route.
comes from French.
Yes.
자, and what about taking off?
Take off. So take off, we're talking about aircrafts or it could be birds as well. So it means to become airborne, to, go into flight.
Yep, take off and landing. 이륙, 착륙. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. A jetliner en route from Los Angeles to Shanghai was forced to turn around after it was discovered that one of the pilots had taken off without a passport. Well, that's it for the 5 headlines with Karen.
The number of babies born in Korea rose for the seventh consecutive month in January, marking an 11% increase from a year earlier in a positive sign for a country struggling with a demographic crisis.
올해 1월 국내 출생아 수가 1년 전보다 11% 넘게 늘어남과 동시에 7달 연속 증가세를 보이면서 인구 감소 상황에 직면한 국가적 위기에 긍정적인 신호를 나타냈습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so a total of 23,947 babies were born in January, and that is compared to 21,461 newborns a year before. So an 11.6% difference. And certainly we've hear in the news all the time, it seems like probably over the last decade or two, that there is a birth rate issue in Korea. So certainly very welcome news.
Yes, rebound is something we've been hoping to hear, and it's happening. But yeah, you said it's not only an 11% increase, but this is a 7-month straight increase as well.
Yeah, consecutive.
Yeah.
7 consecutive months. So each month it's getting better and better. Who knows by the end of this year if it'll continue to grow.
자, 이게 매우 긍정적인 신호다. 영어로는 in a positive sign.
Yeah, in a positive sign showing that there are positive things, there are good things to show that we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Usually, if you have a goal of some sort, then you want to be achieving those goals and have little markers to show that you're doing the right things. And in a positive sign, you're showing that you have these markers that are helping you in terms of progress.
여기서 그 신호를 영어로 sign, sign이라고 표현을 할 수 있어요. And what about a demographic crisis?
So, a demographic are different ways that you can divide the population or people or groups. And the demographic of those are different ways that you can divide it, whether it be by age,
Yeah.
it could be by gender, it could be by nationality. But how you divide the group is what you're doing. So, right now it's saying that there's a crisis. A crisis is a problem or perhaps a danger of some sort. So when we're talking about a demographic crisis, I think once again we hear this a lot in the news where we have too many older people compared to the number of younger people. So we're worried about how that might affect us in the future when it comes to pensions and things like that.
Yeah. The noun form of demographic is demography, which is also the study of, the stats when it comes to births and deaths and the population and everything to do with the numbers of the people. 자, 인구학을 demography라고 하는데요. 그 형용사 형태가 demographic입니다. 그래서 이런 인구와 관련된 수치들, 그런 것들을 다 이제 demographic 뭐뭐뭐라고 얘기할 수 있는데 그런 위기죠. 인구 감소가 계속되고 있기 때문에 그래서 demographic crisis라고 표현을 하고 있습니다. Let me read it one more time. The number of babies born in Korea rose for the 7th consecutive month in January, marking an 11% increase from a year earlier, in a positive sign for a country struggling with a demographic crisis. Let's move on to the second headline.
London police have announced that the fire at an electricity substation, which led to Heathrow Airport's closure last week and disrupted thousands of passengers, is no longer considered a criminal matter.
지난주 영국 런던 히스로 공항의 전면 폐쇄를 불러오며 수많은 승객들의 불편을 야기했던 공항 인근 변전소 화재에 범죄 혐의점은 없는 것으로 판단된다는 런던 경찰청의 발표가 나왔습니다. I remember reading the news and all of a sudden Heathrow Airport was shut down and no flights were taking off or landing. And so many people were confused and there was a lot of chaos and, it was obviously disrupted their plans for whatever it was that they were doing. But now we know that the fire that caused the shutdown of the airport was not something that was deliberately done. Tell us more.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a major hub like Heathrow Airport that has to be suspended in operations for a while, you're always going to consider the possibility of foul play or a terrorist act or something where, somebody is getting something out of it, whether it be attention or whether they're trying to cripple the British government or the airport itself. So investigators immediately were obviously investigating and checking that out to see who might have been responsible.
Exactly.
But after the investigation, they have determined that no, it was just kind of an electrical issue that happened by chance and was not something that was deliberate by a person or a group of people.
Exactly. You used the expression foul play earlier on, and this is obviously used in sports as well. But when it comes to any incident where, there's some damage or perhaps even casualties, you might suspect that it was deliberately done, in which case you say, was foul play involved? And here we're talking about any criminal actions. In sports, I think that means you're breaking the rules.
Absolutely. In sports, it would be breaking the rules in order to gain an advantage of
Okay.
some sort. But we hear this a lot when it comes to issues like this, and especially in the media, where you're not sure if, once again, if it was deliberate or not. So
Yeah.
when we're talking about a criminal matter, as they mentioned in the article, that can literally be replaced with foul play. And quite often you will hear that in newspaper reports or whether it be TV or radio news as well. They'll often say foul play was not involved or they've ruled out foul play.
네, 그렇습니다. 부정행위라는 뜻인데요. foul play. 우리가 스포츠에서도 파울이야 이런 말 하잖아요. 그 파울입니다. F-O-U-L. 근데 뉴스에서도 많이 쓰는 표현이에요. 이게 공식적인 상황에서도 지금 이렇게 화재가 발생했는데 혹시 어떤 범죄 혐의점이 있지 않을까? Is foul play involved? 이렇게 물어볼 수 있어요. 근데 이 경우에는 foul play was not involved. 전혀 그런 부정행위, 그러니까 범죄 혐의점이 있지 않았던 것으로 이렇게 드러났습니다. 영어로는 이제 criminal matter라는 표현이 여기서 쓰였는데 그런 것이 없었다. Well, the fire led to Heathrow Airport's closure.
Yeah, and when something leads to something else, then there's a result that's happening. So A leads to B. It's a cause and an effect. And, you know, even in a certain way, people can lead a person from point A to point B. I am leading you. I will lead you from here to there.
Yeah.
So you're taking someone from here to there. In the same sort of way, one action or one event can lead something to something else happening in the end. So it can happen figuratively that way as well.
A leads to B. A가 B로 이어지다. 아니면 A가 B로 안내하다가 될 수도 있고요. 사람의 경우에는 안내하는 거겠지만 이 경우에는 그 화재로 인해서 공항이 문을 닫는 일로 이어졌죠. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. London police have announced that the fire at an electricity substation, which led to Heathrow Airport's closure last week and disrupted thousands of passengers, is no longer considered a criminal matter.
A glowing blue spiral spotted across European skies earlier this week was likely caused by the aftermath of a SpaceX rocket launch in the US, according to the UK's National Meteorological and Climate Agency.
이번 주 초에 유럽 각지의 밤하늘에서 목격된 푸른빛의 나선형 무늬에 대해 영국 기상청은 이 현상이 미국에서 실시된 스페이스X의 로켓 발사 때문인 것으로 보인다고 밝혔습니다. So that's what happened. Tell us more.
You know, I saw the photo of what was in the sky that people took pictures of. And the best way I could explain it is if you saw this in the night sky, I think you would be kind of, whoa, what is that? And I think it would be a natural reaction to take a picture of it because it was a clear pattern that looked a little bit like a spiral in the sky. And a lot of people were, you know, confused by what it might be. Obviously, the alarm bells go off with conspiracy theorists and things like that. And upon, you know, people sending pictures and it being in the news around Europe in several different countries, by the way, the UK, France, Norway, Germany, Ukraine, Denmark, and Poland, people in those areas all reported seeing this. I think
Quite spectacular.
yeah, it set off some alarm bells, and scientists actually looked into it, and then it seemed to coincide with the SpaceX rocket launch. So it seems to be that is what caused it.
Exactly. For those who haven't seen it, we'd recommend that you search it online. It's very easy to find. What would you have to search? Blue spiral?
Yeah, I would say
blue-
by now you'd probably even come up by SpaceX Blue Spiral, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
요거 한번 이렇게 검색해 보세요. Blue spiral, SpaceX 이렇게
Yeah.
검색하면 나올 것 같아요. But for those of you who haven't seen it, it's basically circular and it kind of looks like a massive boomerang in the air. I don't know. And it's kind of, like we said, it's a spiral in the middle. It looks like it's swirling around, although I don't think it was. So it's very, very circular, and very big.
I believe it was visible for several minutes, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes.
okay.
So it wasn't like half an hour where like everybody could, see it for a long period of time. But for those who did catch it at the right moment, they were able to see it and take pictures and perhaps alert some of the people that they knew.
그래요. 자, 이 spiral이라는 거는 그 나선형의 무언가라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 spiral 명사 형태로 여기선 쓰였는데 이걸 검색해 보시면 될 것 같고 이게 목격이 됐어요. This was spotted.
Yeah, if something is spotted, then it was seen. And think of it this way. If you have a shirt, and I have many shirts like this, where it's got a spot on it from cooking or eating, but, I spilled something on it, and we call that a spot, right? I don't know if this is where it came from, but if you think of that spot as easy to see on a shirt or a place that's not supposed to have that mark, but you say, oh, you got a spot on your shirt. In the same way, well, if you were spotted, then it means that you were seen. You're visible. People noticed you.
spot가 그러니까 명사 형태로는 얼룩이라는 의미가 있어요. 근데 그 얼룩을 찾아내는 것도 역시 spot라는 동사를 써서 발견했다. You might spot a spot. 얼룩을 발견할 수 있겠죠. 네, 그래서 뭔가를 목격하다, 찾다, 발견하다 이런 거를 동사 spot로 쓸 수가 있겠고 사실 이제 좀 헷갈릴 수 있는 거는 spot하고 dot라는 단어들이 좀 헷갈릴 수 있어요. I've been asked this before and someone said, what's the difference between a spot and a dot? And so I thought, well, a spot is maybe something that you unintentionally ended up having on your shirt, whereas a dot might be an intentional pattern, like a polka dot, or a dotted dress or something. And then they said, but why do you call animals spotted animals? And so I said, that's such a great question. I don't know. Like English sometimes does not have a reason for everything. So animals, you don't say it's dotted.
Yeah.
It's spotted.
I would think of a dot as
Yeah.
being a little bit smaller.
Okay.
Like when I think of a dot, I think of like the dot above an I or a lowercase j.
Got it.
Like that's a dot,
Yeah,
like a period.
Oh, and we do say dot, dot, dot.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Whereas spot, I think of it being a little bit bigger and like you said, maybe not as intentional.
그러네요. 우리가 이렇게 점점점이라고 할 때 영어로는 dot, dot, dot라고 하거든요. 그래서 dot, dot가 점이라는 의미고 spot도 점이 될 수 있는데 이제 보통은 얼룩의 의미로 씁니다. 자, 근데 이제 동물 같은 경우에는 얼룩 무늬 동물 이제 spotted라고 하고 우리 드레스에 뭐 땡땡이 무늬 같은 거 있을 때는 polka dots가 있다라고 하죠. 자, 이어서 aftermath는 뭘까요?
Aftermath is the result or the final, the final result of some sort. If you look at what happened because of something. So when everything, you look at the result and say, okay, well, here's what happened in the aftermath. This is the result of everything that happened before.
네, 무언가의 여파 내지는 후유증을 aftermath라고 하는데 스페이스X의 로켓가 지나가면서 그 여파로 아마 유럽 하늘에 나선형의 정말 형광 파란색의 무늬 같은 게 뭐 그게 이제 잠시 보였다라고 합니다.
I think if you, again, I don't think this is where it comes from, but if you think of a math problem, 5 plus 6 is 11, then once you do the math, then you have a result. You have an answer.
Yeah.
And in the same sort of way, if you think of it that way, okay, well, after I've done the math, well, here's the result in the end. And I think that'll help you to remember what it means.
여파라는 단어를 이렇게 수학 이후 이렇게 또 연상을 해서 기억해 보면 어떠냐라는 선생님 제안을 해주셨는데 사실 이제 수학이랑 아무 상관이 없는 단어입니다만 그냥 이 단어를 외울 때 그냥 하나의 팁으로 수학을 풀고 나면 그 여파 무슨 여파가 있나요? What's the aftermath of solving a math question? What would you say the aftermath is? Is this the result?
Yeah, the result, the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
여파라기보다 뭐 이제 영향, 뭐 결과 이런 의미로 뭐 연상해서 그게 편하신 분들은 그렇게 생각하시면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A glowing blue spiral spotted across European skies earlier this week was likely caused by the aftermath of a SpaceX rocket launch in the US, according to the UK's National Meteorological and Climate Agency. Let's move on to the next headline.
A pilot and his 2 young daughters have survived a plane crash in an icy Alaska lake by staying afloat on the wing of the partially submerged aircraft for 12 hours before being rescued.
미국 알래스카주에서 경비행기를 타고 가다 얼음 호수에 추락하는 사고를 당한 조종사와 어린 2 딸이 거의 물에 잠긴 기체의 날개 위에서 12시간 동안 버틴 끝에 구조됐습니다. Wow, how dramatic. What happened?
So this plane that they were in, I guess, went down, and the grandfather was actually worried. So the grandfather reported that his son and granddaughters were missing or did not return at the time that they expected them back. They were, flying on a tour, essentially. And eventually, he got people to go and look for his family. And eventually, they were found. And once again, there were photos taken of the plane from an aerial view as well. And you could see that indeed the airplane was partially submerged in sort of like I don't know if it was fully frozen, but it looked almost looked more like a slushy ocean. So not completely frozen, but not completely liquid either.
그러게 말입니다. 기체가 물에 반쯤 들어가 있기는 했는데, 여기가 알래스카 쪽이었단 말이죠. 그 사진상으로 봤을 때는 물이 반쯤 얼려 있는 것처럼 보이긴 해요.
Yeah.
네, 빙판에, 그러니까 기체가 반쯤 잠긴 것처럼 보이기는 합니다만, 그래도 얼마나 무서운 12시간이었겠어요. The plane and the people, they all stayed afloat.
They did. And to stay afloat means that you are not sinking in the water. So as the water, or in this case, maybe slush, was there, the airplane did not go to the bottom of the sea. It stayed afloat on top of the water.
그래요. Stay afloat. A-F-L-O-A-T. 물 위에 떠 있다. 근데 물이 아닐 수 있어요. 뭐 공중에 떠 있다. 그러니까 어딘가에 떠 있다라고 할 때 stay afloat라고 합니다.
And that's
not the sea, but a lake, I think.
That's right. Yeah, it was a lake. And also, that's sort of the exact explanation or the physical explanation that you're staying afloat on the water. But also, we will use this figuratively as well. So you could say, "Oh, my business is barely staying afloat." So we're surviving. We're still alive. We're not closing down yet, but it's not a good situation. We're just staying afloat.
겨우겨우 지금 버티고 있다라는 뜻으로 we're just staying afloat라고 할 수 있겠죠. 이 호수의 이름은 Tustamina Lake였습니다. 알래스카에 있는 한 호수고요. The plane was partially submerged.
Yeah, it wasn't completely submerged, but it was partially. So anytime we're talking partially, then you're basically going between 0% and 100%. It's somewhere in the middle of 0 and 100%. And you could think maybe like 50%. And if you look in this particular case, if you looked at the picture, then it looked like it probably was about 50%, like half submerged.
네, 그래요. 사진상으로는 그 날개가 아주 클리어하게 보입니다. 근데 물에 반쯤 잠겨 있는 것처럼 보여요. 그래서 partially, 부분적으로 잠겨 있었다.
And of course, the base word of partially is part. So I don't want the whole thing, just a part of it.
Yeah.
So once again, you're thinking of not everything, not nothing, but, a small portion.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A pilot and his 2 young daughters have survived a plane crash in an icy Alaska lake by staying afloat on the wing of the partially submerged aircraft for 12 hours before being rescued. Let's move on to the final headline.
A study has found that Maria Brañas Morera, the U.S.-born woman who was the world's oldest living person before her death in Spain last August at age 117, had genes that kept her cells biologically 17 years younger, while her gut microbiota resembled that of an infant.
지난해 8월에 스페인에서 117세로 사망하기 전까지 세계 최고령자로 기록됐던 미국 여성 마리아 브라니아스 모레라가 연구 결과 실제 나이보다 생물학적으로 17년 더 젊게 살 수 있게 만든 유전자와 유아의 것과 비슷한 장내 미생물군을 갖고 있었던 것으로 밝혀졌습니다. So she was blessed with young genes.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell us more.
So, yeah, she lived to the age of 117,
Yeah.
and the study on her microbiome and DNA, they had an autopsy of sorts after, and it was discovered that some of those, it behaved as if she was 17 years younger. And let's face it, I mean, if she's 117, 100 is still pretty old.
Yeah.
So to be able to make it that far in that condition, great for her. A lot of people obviously wondering, what did she do to live as long as she did?
Yeah.
She did live in the Mediterranean. In Spain, and a lot of people have said that some of the oldest people in the world do live in that region, so they do seem to live longer in the
Okay.
Mediterranean area.
I think the weather,
Diet
the food,
as well, yeah.
yeah, they might have something to do with it. She was a super centenarian, so she was over 110, but she had the body of a centenarian, so she was actually biologically younger than her age. When we say biologically younger, what does that mean?
Biologically is to do with living things. So when it comes to the study of sciences, we have chemistry and physics and biology are the big three. And with biology, we're talking about animals and life, things that are living. So in terms of her body and how it works physically, she was, 17 years younger than expected.
생물학적으로 젊었다. She was biologically younger than her age. Biological, 생물학적인 이란 뜻이고. And to resemble something?
If you resemble something, then you look like something. So it's similar to something.
네, 비슷하다, 닮았다. You resemble someone or something. 이렇게 표현하면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A study has found that Maria Brañas Morera, the US-born woman who was the world's oldest living person before her death in Spain last August at age 117, had genes that had kept her cells biologically 17 years younger, while her gut microbiota resembled that of an infant. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning with Jason.